One of the biggest races of this election cycle was the Republican primary to fill Jim Inohfe's seat in the U.S. Senate. Markwayne Mullin and T.W. Shannon beat out 11 other candidates and will head to a runoff election in August. Congressman Markwayne Mullin joining us live this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
So you're giving up your seat in the U.S. House to run for Senator Inohfe's Senate seat. You've spent 10 years in your current position. Why did you want to make the change, and how does it feel to be doing something different or trying something different?
Well, we wanted to be in the best position to fight for Oklahoma. You know, politics isn't my livelihood. People seen our companies around the state for years. But it's something we get to do. It's a service. And when Inohfe decided to retire, my wife asked me one thing: where can you make the biggest difference? If you're going to be away from us and the kids, then where's that fight going to be? And I said, without question, it's in the Senate. And so we're excited about being effective for the state of Oklahoma. We say this all the time. D.C. doesn't need to be influencing us. We need to be influencing Washington, D.C., because if D.C. operated more like Oklahoma, we'd be in great shape.
If elected, what do you hope to accomplish as senator that you couldn't or didn't as congressman?
Well, in the lower chamber, we really deal with more the legislative side of things, and in the House, or in the Senate, they're controlling a lot of the agencies, and the agencies are the ones that's affecting us. We're not seeing real legislation affect us right now because everybody's ruling. Biden's ruling through executive orders, and he's putting the head of these agencies that every one of them is confirmed through the Senate. These are the ones that are literally making laws through regulation, and that's, as a small business owner of 25 years that employ, a few hundred people across Oklahoma, it's frustrating to me. I got in this fight to begin with. It was, years ago, was because I was fed up what was happening with our companies. I was having faceless bureaucrats literally making it impossible to create those jobs that they want created. And Washington, D.C. was never designed to create jobs. They're supposed to create an opportunity for those entrepreneurs and those go-getters to do that. And right now, those heads of those agencies, every one of them go through the Senate. And so that's why I say that's where our fight is. The fight's right there. The administration is not working through legislation. They're working through executive orders, and that's got to change.
Senator Inohfe has spent nearly 30 years in that position, and his primary focus has been military defense and transportation. Will you continue work in those areas, or do you plan to shift focus to something else?
No, the Senate Armed Services is a committee we want to be on without question. Listen, it's the third largest economic impact we have in our state. Right now, I currently sit on HPSI, which is the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and I'm over the warfighter and the readiness, and that's what I'm ranker of. We want to continue that service in the Senate too. And then on transportation, it's important to us, especially someone like myself that lives out in rural parts of Oklahoma. I don't think we get the proportionate dollars that we need to in Oklahoma for our transportation needs. We do the best we can with what we got, but we can do better.
Now, you've said you hope to go to the U.S. Senate as a citizen legislator. You've talked a little bit about that, I think, but can you expand on that a little bit more?
Well, if we're ever going to change Washington, D.C., we've got to change the type of politics we send up there, and that means we've got to send the person we're sending to. If your background is politics, if that's where your livelihood has always been, that's going to be your way of thinking. That means when you get up there, you're going to continue to make political decisions. We have enough politicians in Washington, D.C. making political decisions. We need true citizen legislators that not only do they go to Washington, D.C., but they come back home and they live underneath those same rules. That's what our founding fathers wanted. True citizen legislators, not individuals that make a career out of politics. And so if you have that value, then when it comes, push comes to shove, and you got to make those really tough decisions, because there's a lot of tough decisions that's facing this nation, especially when you start talking about the national debt. Are you willing to make those tough decisions knowing that it could possibly cost your election? Well, if politics is your life and your livelihood, and that's your identity, probably not. You're going to make another political decision, which always happens in D.C. But you take a true citizen legislator, he's going to be able to make that decision and know he has a life to come back home to, and that's what we're going to do.
Congressman Mullin, thank you so much for your time this morning. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate you guys.